Welcome to today's episode of Proven, where we have candid conversations with those individuals that are experienced, successful, and iconic in their own right. These are individuals that have risen to the top of their game, to the top of their industry, and today they're going to share insight and wisdom with you on what it is that sets them apart, that has caused them and allowed them to stay the course to get to the place that they are. I'm so excited today. I have with me a young woman that I admire so greatly. She's a mover and a shaker, iconic in her own right. So help me welcome to the show today, Casey Fox. Hello, my dear.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm so glad you're here with me. It's
Thank
such
you for
a
having
blessing.
me.
I so admire you, okay? Now, I could sit here and read your bio because you're a powerful woman, but I want to take a journey with you today, and I want you to share with our audience who Casey is and how she got to where she is today, to not only be a powerhouse in broadcasting, but also to be a CEO, a consultant, and a whole host of other things. You are the Lady General, that's what they call you, and you are powerful and impactful. So how did you get to all of that? Where did that start? And how did you get there? Yes, you are.
I think for me, it started with the need to prove others wrong.
Oh, wow.
I think it was a need to prove myself wrong, that I wasn't a statistic.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
What motivation? I'm telling you.
I think my daughter. I had my daughter at 19, and so part of that was, when I was in my sophomore year of college, and it was like, okay, the whole statistical thing that everyone thinks when you are in school, right?
Not finish,
right?
But you proved them wrong.
I proved them wrong, yeah, and I proved myself wrong. And so, I think the number one motivating factor was to allow myself to be different and still be extraordinary. So, just because I didn't do it the traditional way, I didn't go into college and do a straight 4 years. I mean, by textbook definition, I did everything wrong.
Okay, well, you know what? You might have done it wrong, but it really worked out great for
did.
you. I mean,
It
because
did.
looking at where you are now, you would never know that. And I think that's the thing that people need to understand, that you may face excruciating, horrific, painful situations in your life, but it's not over, really, until God says it's over, and until you give in and just give up.
Right, absolutely. And that, for me, that wasn't an option.
So here you are in college, and you have this beautiful angel, and you decide that, hey, I've got to make a life for her. And so you got back in the game.
Got back in the game with the same plan.
With the same plan.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Just a different direction.
A different
or
direction.
path, a
Different
path to get
direction.
there. Yeah.
But
yeah.
there were people saying, well, maybe now you can go and do this. And this was a lot less than what I had planned to do. And so that just wasn't an option for me. I just didn't see myself changing the entire course of the future based on one scenario in my young adult life. It just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah. So what direction were you actually headed when you recognized that, you know what, I may be veering off course just a little bit, but you got back on track and you hit the target you were aiming at, which landed you in broadcasting?
Absolutely. I knew at, I want to say maybe 15 or 16 years old, that I wanted to be a journalist. I knew that I wanted to be a writer. English was my favorite subject. I loved telling stories, and I was a people person, in high school and throughout that time. So that was the plan. I was going to go into the Air Force and be a journalist there.
Okay.
And so had my daughter, still wanted to go into the Air Force, still wanted to be a journalist. But in talking to my father, who's a very scholarly person, he wasn't okay with the military thing. So
okay, so why not? I mean, honestly, as a parent, I would think, you know what, maybe she derailed a little bit. The military might be the best thing for her.
Yeah, he was just, I can't remember exactly what his words were to me at that point, but what I took away from it was, as long as I am helping to fund your education.
Okay. All
right.
I got you.
Right.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. You can kind of follow his plan a little bit more.
Right.
So you pursued your education, raised your daughter.
I did.
Eventually
Went into the military anyway.
Oh God, you still ended up in, okay,
I was not,
you just didn't do it daddy's
right,
way. You still
right.
did it. Okay.
I said to him, my words to him was that, okay, well, as soon as I'm able to fund my own life completely, then this is still my plan. I've always been a stickler for not giving up. I hate giving up. It's not in me to give up. And
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
that
that,
way too.
are
I
you
get
that way too?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that there's good and bad to it because sometimes we hold on to things that we shouldn't because we hate to give up.
Yeah.
But in this particular situation, throughout my journey, as you know, in reference to my career as that pertained, giving up was just, I couldn't bring myself to do it. So I was like, okay, so Dad said that I can't do it, but that doesn't mean I can't do it in 5 years. And I was okay with that, very patient in that, and I did. I went into the military much later in life. I believe I may have been 26.
Okay.
And so I did it. I did it.
Now, was that after college?
It was after college.
After college, so now you enter into the military. And so is that where we acquired the name the Lady General? I mean, you must have been a force to be reckoned with. Okay, you don't quit, you don't give up, and now you're in the military, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
No, that's not where I got actually I was called Foxy because my last name is Fox.
Okay, yeah.
And so it's like one of those things you have a call sign in the military, and my call sign turned out to be Foxy, and I was given that by some of my colleagues there during my tour to Iraq.
Wow.
That became my call sign.
Wow.
But you know what? I will tell you this, that time in the military is where I really found my ability to lead.
So here you are, Foxy.
Yes.
Okay, I can imagine that was a little bit disruptive to that environment in so many ways, but then you emerge as a leader. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Because I know that a lot of times in the military, sometimes that women really have to fight to really get to those positions of authority. So what were you faced with when you found yourself kind of moving into that leadership?
Well, the fact that I can't remember exactly what year it was, but I had one commander that told me the worst decision you can make is to not make one at all. So it was these sorts of things. It was like I could lead myself. I always was ambitious, and I can lead myself through anything. I can navigate anything on my own. But it was there that I was tasked with navigating others.
In Iraq?
Yes.
In a war zone?
Yes.
Foxy?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. So you're literally a woman on the front line. You're a soldier, and you're there, and you're commanding and leading with force and with authority and confidence, no doubt.
Absolutely.
What did it take for you really? I mean, because you're a strong woman, but at the same time, I mean, was that confidence to really do that job? I mean, was it present? Did it develop while you were there? Because I can't imagine being on the front lines, being in a war zone, and having to make a decision that I've got to step up and really lead in this kind of environment. I mean, that's training.
That is training.
That's equipping, yeah.
That is training. I won't say that I cheated, but I think I had a little bit of a leg up because before I deployed, I was an instructor at the schoolhouse. And the schoolhouse that I was, assigned to was a deployment readiness center. Okay. So folks that were getting ready to deploy came to our schoolhouse to train in preparation for the deployment.
Okay.
So I got a lot of practice there, being able to command, and I was ready.
You were equipped, yeah.
Right. So when our number came up to deploy, I went in and I was doing the job of a military police officer. But I took an injury there, which led me to have to do another job. And it was in that job that I just flourished. I mean, it was just, that job it was almost like it was made for me to do. I love that job. I was a communication sergeant.
So you landed there, though, after the injury.
Injury.
So again, perhaps what you expected to be the outcome was deterred.
Right.
Deterred you made a big detour just to land in a position that you iconically believed to be what was your purpose and your destiny.
And it's been a lot of that for me. It has. I'm like, the chain of events had to happen that way in order for me to become the lady general.
Well, you hear a lot about people that are highly successful and iconic that most of the time they just kind of fell into wherever they ended up. It wasn't that it wasn't a part of their destiny, it's just that the way that they thought that get there ended up being so much different, but they wouldn't trade anything for anything because it made them who they are. Is that how you felt
Absolutely.
with the journey that you took?
Absolutely. I believe that. I speak about that so vividly because I think about all the time, what if I hadn't taken that injury? I would have never gone into that desk job. I would have never met General Petraeus, which was fantastic. I would have never been able to train others. I became a trainer even in the AOR, downrange in Iraq, for that job because I did so well with that job.
And so it equipped you. You were in the military for how many years?
8.
I heard you're something with a gun though, so I don't know. I'm glad you're my friend. Okay,
Right? I am an expert.
Okay, that's what I heard. I knew it was something. You were an expert.
I'm an expert marksman.
Okay,
Yeah.
y'all heard that. Now don't mess with this chick. All right, okay. This general, this lady.
Yes.
Oh my God, don't mess with her. Wow. So you excelled in every arena that you went into. It sounds as though you did, even if it were some negative attached to it, you still were able to leverage that and use that to help to build your career. So,
Yes.
so you retire.
I got out of the military for a couple of reasons. One, the injury, and 2, my daughter was getting ready to go to high school, and I wanted to not be on multiple deployments during that time because the unit I was attached to was a highly deployable unit because we had a lot of special skill sets in that unit.
Yeah.
And so I really wanted to be home permanently during her high school years.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So now here you are, and you have this great success in the military, but now you're forced to say, you know what, I have to make a choice.
Have to make a
on what
choice.
is best for my daughter.
Right.
And so you leave the military, and then
I go back to TV.
you go back to TV. Okay. And here's Foxy again
Yes,
showing up.
she showed back up.
God. So I
With
kinda,
abs and a 6-pack.
Oh,
this
well,
time.
look, I love that. We're going to work on that, okay? 'Cause, look, I need that today. But, the thing of it is that, let's fast forward just a little bit. So you end up in broadcasting, you're a communication specialist, and so you find yourself doing consulting and because you're kind of involved in a little bit of everything and
Yes.
highly productive, impactful, and effective at what you do. And so talk a little bit about how you feel you landed in those positions, because I think it's really important that people understand that, again, you didn't go home and just stay with your daughter. You still said, you know what, there's more for me. And I think that so many people quit, give up, and throw in the towel.
Right.
So what was your motivation to now be where you are and to be such a high producer in the things that you're involved with and called to?
Absolutely. The military taught me that you had to do the job that no one else was willing to do.
Okay.
And you had to do it very, very well, or lives were at stake. And so I applied that principle to everything that I touched when I came back into the civilian sector. So it was based off of 3 core values that I was taught there: integrity, service before self, and excellence in all you do.
Okay, say that one more time, because I don't want anybody to miss that. Because you may not be in the military, but she's giving you some practical life principles that, when applied in every aspect of your life, will absolutely work.
It is proven. I like that. It's proven.
It is proven, okay?
It is
She's proven,
proven.
so you need to get this so you can be proven too.
It is proven
So
to work. I'll
integrity?
put my life on it. Integrity, service before self.
That's a big one. Yeah. A lot of people really struggle with that because our society tells us self before service to everyone else. Care
Right.
for me. And there's nothing wrong with caring for you. It's just that I believe we're called and placed here on earth to be of service to others.
Absolutely. We have an assignment. And excellence in all you do.
Well, I have no doubt that you operate in excellence. And so, talk a little bit about that, because I think so many people think they're excellent, but they're really not. So how did what you learned in the military cause you to be challenged with that virtue, which it
Right.
is, to have that apply in your life after the military?
Absolutely. So I came back and I started looking at all the different skills that I had based upon experience or readings education, things that I had learned from other people, other leaders that I had been around. And I was like, I can either fix it, because that's what we do. We fix things, or we can complain about it. And there was just so much wrong. I just saw so much wrong. I saw so much wrongdoing. I saw so many people doing wrong things by one another. And that just wasn't the environment that I had come out of. You know, being in a war zone, your outlook on everything is very acute.
Yeah.
And it's very different.
Yeah.
And so I brought that back, and I just couldn't shake it. I tried to shake it. I was like, I'm back at home. This isn't the military. This isn't a war. But it is. There's domestic violence.
Yeah.
There
Every day
is
we have all
human
types of
trafficking.
challenges
That's
that we're
war,
faced with.
right? That's a different style of war. And I saw all of these other things, and I just said, well, what if I apply the same principles here that I applied there, and just customize it to fit this particular task or mission? Everything was a mission.
Okay. So everything in your life you look at as being a mission.
Yes.
Okay. And taking that principle then it's easily transferable then.
Yes.
I could see it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So no wonder you're a high level producer. I love it, okay? So anything that you go after, you're going to do it with integrity. You're going to put service before self, and it's always going to be of excellence.
It's always got to be of
Oh, I love
excellence.
it.
And I teach
Yeah.
my mentees the same thing. I tell them, they say, okay, Miss Fox, what are you going to teach us? I said, I'm going to teach you one thing forever and ever. I'm going to teach you how to think.
Yeah,
If I
that's a
teach you
skill
how
that
to
a
think,
lot of
I
people
never
are
have to
missing.
teach you anything
Absolutely.
specifically.
Oh, that's so good. Okay, so how do you teach people, just real quick? Just a few little principles to get people to really think, because I want people to understand that they can make it through anything, that they don't have to accept mediocrity in life. So what's one little nugget that you could give just from your own experience and from what you teach that could be of help to somebody?
I would say that, you know, we've all heard the mantras and all of these different things about thinking outside of the box and shattering glass ceilings. And I think about it very differently, because that's still, when you think about thinking outside of the box, that means you acknowledge that there is a box.
Okay.
If you think about shattering glass ceilings, you acknowledge that there is a plateau. But what if there isn't that? What if there is no box and no plateau? Then you could just keep going and going and going.
That's good.
And that you can move around and not be confined to even worried about this box. So
okay.
I look at it as as if there is no box.
Wow, so let me tell you what comes to mind. So would it be safe to say that you've seen people get so focused on the box that they forget that they're supposed to be outside of the box?
Absolutely.
Building even more?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because you've created a barrier in your mind. The box is there.
So if it doesn't exist, then the
Right.
sky's the limit. You
Absolutely.
can do whatever it is. There are
Right.
no limitations to
Right.
anything. Oh, I love that. That is so good.
And you can be creative and free in your thought process.
Wow.
And that's how history makers are made. That's how people make history. They do something that's never been done before.
Well, you are making history in a lot of areas, and you're doing the things that have not been done before. What gives you the strength and the courage? I know you've got the military training. I know that you've just made up in your mind that that's how you're going to operate. But at the same time, there still has to be a little something, because I can imagine that you're often faced, just like many of us, with things that perhaps are a bit challenging to take on. But what's that thing that gives you that little pushover?
I think the thing that gives me the little pushover is knowing that I have the ability to do it. I think knowing that I have the ability and knowing that there are people counting on me to do it.
Okay. Counting on you. So many people just don't even really think that what they do affects other people. So I believe that we're placed on the earth to make a difference and impact the world in which we live in.
Yes.
And so when you think that way, then you can accomplish anything. Because
Absolutely.
we're not self-serving. We're here to give, as you said, to other people and to help lift them along the way. And so in your lifting, do you find times that it's just difficult, that you might want to throw in the towel and quit?
I do. Right now I'm consulting on a very high profile case where I'm working with young women. And when I say young women, under 30 for certain, and in most scenarios under 20 that have claims against R. Kelly, who's a
wow.
mega superstar.
Wow.
So I'm consulting a
Well,
lot
that's
there.
controversial.
It's very
Extremely,
controversial.
yeah.
It's controversial, and it's ugly. It's an ugly situation. It's just an ugly situation. And there's been nights that I'm like, this is a lot. But then I'll get the phone call and, and just saying, help. I need you. I trust you. I need you to help me navigate. And how do you say no to a comrade that's in trouble?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when you look at the broken pieces of their life and you look at the fact that you have opportunity to really help them, because I know it's burdensome. Anytime you're in the business of helping people, it can be so challenging at times. But, knowing that you're doing something that's going to make a difference in their life and potentially turn their life around for the better, I find to be so rewarding. And sometimes it's risky, and sometimes it comes with persecution.
Absolutely.
And I can imagine this would come with a lot of persecution.
Absolutely.
Because I know people have different opinions.
Right.
But when you made that decision to step out with your mantras of those 3 things that you operate in, I think you were making a commitment for the long haul, for the rest of your life, to make certain that you serve the world in that capacity. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So, as you are now serving in that capacity, the Lady General kind of sums all of your experiences up.
It does.
And so what does that mean to you as a Lady General? What weightiness now does that place on you, and responsibility does that give you?
Well, it's amazing because the name was given to me by a radio host that I was doing an interview with, I want to say maybe 5 years ago. And I was talking to her. We were talking before we went live. And I was telling her about, she was complimenting my dress and my shoes. And then I was
we
like,
always do that, yeah. You need to see her shoes today, but anyway.
And when she found out I had served in the military and to what capacity, she couldn't believe it. And she was like, wow, that's a contrast there. I would have never thought that, is what she said. Wow. And she said, because you're so ladylike, but you're so strong, and everything you say is almost like a command, but it's a gentle command, and people want to listen to you. She was like, kind of like a lady general. That's literally how it became.
Wow, and that just stuck. I mean, that's a pretty powerful label, if you will, or name to carry. But it does sum up, as I've sat here and talked to you, and as I've gotten to know you, you always present yourself in such a feminine way, which represents being a true woman, a true lady, but then you're firm, you're a solid sister, and you can command an audience, and that's what I love about it. And you do it with a smile on your face. Wow. So I'm so excited that we've had the privilege to have this conversation with the Lady General. So what would you say as we get ready to kind of bring this conversation to a close? I wish we could go on. We'll have to have you back.
Thank you.
But what would you say just to someone that is at that critical point in their life and they're faced with making those decisions that will really change the trajectory of their life at this moment? What would you share with those individuals? Because here you are, you're a soldier, you've taught, you've been in communications, broadcast, you're an entrepreneur, no doubt, in your consulting business, no doubt. That's what you're doing. So you've crossed a lot of the industries, but somebody might be saying, I just want to do one thing.
Right.
What is it that I do to get focused on that?
I would say that first you have to believe that you are just as good as the person that you are looking to for the guidance. You just haven't tapped into it yet. So I would encourage them to figure out how to tap into that. And that comes with a lot of different things. And I remember what it felt like not knowing how to tap into that. I do. But I feel like if you stay the course and if you stay committed and loyal to whatever your calling is, if you're just trying to go out and copycat something else, it's not going to work. You have to really be able to understand, get to know yourself first. Because once you know yourself, you'll go hard for yourself.
Okay.
You will go so hard for yourself,
Yeah.
and you will be so adamant and so gung-ho about that.
Wow.
that
See,
no one can tell
I
you
like
anything.
that. Hold that thought for a second because I want you to finish it. But one of the reasons I wanted to talk to individuals that are proven, because there are a lot of copycats. There are a lot of people that see people doing things and they're like, oh, I can do that too. And I'm finding that some people are excelling, but they really don't have the proven track record. And so to help people to get clear in who they are, because it's easy to copy somebody else. It's a challenge and you have to do the deeper work to be yourself. So that's why I wanted to pause you there. Just share a little bit about how somebody really can go to the depths of their soul and pull from every experience that they've had, negative or positive, and really become their authentic self.
Absolutely. That's one of my number one goals for young women and anybody I come in contact with. But my passion is women. But you have to first really figure out what it is that you truly were meant to do, not what you want to do. Not what you want to do. I had to tell my godson this before. You want to be an actor, but you're a singer. You're not as good at that as you are at this. And I can tell you're not as happy. You just want to do it because you feel like you need to do it. I think you need to understand what you're meant to do over what you want to do. And I think a lot of times as young kids, we're told you can do anything you want to do. I like to challenge people to change that thought process. You can do anything you're meant to do.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
So identifying what you were meant to do first, because if you were meant to do it, you'll do it for free, which means you can't be bought.
Right.
You can't be bothered. You know, a lot of people do things because they put a price tag on themselves. So find out how to rid yourself of any price tags. And you find that by doing and identifying what you were meant to do.
And life leads clues. And if people will pay attention to those clues, like you said, acting versus singing. Are you wanting to act because you think it's going to bring the dollar sign? Are you wanting to act because it seems like the cooler thing to do? Or are you willing to refine your gift and become an expert and skilled at that?
gift.
And I think that's really the key that people have to look for. So we don't want any more copycats. You got to find out who you are.
Find out who you are.
You know what, Casey? Our time is coming to a close, but I could sit here all night, and I could sit here and I could just glean from you. I want to thank you so much for sharing your personal journey on how you made it. And I know that you've been an inspiration to someone. And I'm telling you, you know, when you look at the life of those that are proven, and when they're willing to be transparent before you, and when they're willing to share their secrets to their success, you need to really listen, because our prayer and our hope is that you become proven too, but you've got to find your authentic self. You've got to identify what it is that you are meant to do and work your trade, develop your skill set, be confident. You are extremely confident, and it just comes across. And so when you connect to people that are confident, then you can't help but want to be confident too. You can't help but feel like, you know what, I'm going to do better. I can do this. There's nothing that I can't accomplish when I put my mind to it.
Absolutely.
And so I want to thank you today. You have helped to pull me up to another level. I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I got to up my game, okay? I got to be a little bit more confident, you know, but at the end of the day, I love the fact that if you do everything with integrity and with not serving self and do it with excellence.
Absolutely.
That if you apply that to every aspect of your life, it'll pull you up from mediocrity, pull you up from being average. If you have that perseverance and that tenacity to get up every morning and to push yourself, guess what? You can be proven too. So thanks for tuning in. Follow KC at the information that's on the screen. And we thank you for tuning in. Connect with her, contact her, let her know that you've been blessed by the words and the wisdom that she shared. And we look for greater from her. So thanks for being here. I can't wait to see what's next.
I'm so excited.
Thank you so much.